watched someone cycle through the gap and I thought, oh, well, they're much wider than me. And they got through the gap fine. I'll be fine as I get through to the gap. I don't really know what happened next. I thought I was dying on the spot. I took one step through my left leg and my ankle went one direction, my knee went the other direction, and then my leg came back together like cooked spaghetti. I do think I still detach from it, and I still think my brain still, is doing it. And you know what, if that's how my brain does it for the rest of my life, then that's okay. What I say is that I actually took a torch, like a flame, and I burnt my whole life to the ground without even realizing I was doing it. And yeah, it's what I did.
When you hear yourself talk about that story, how does that make you feel?
Sometimes I can't quite believe it's me. So it is August 2021, and I lost control on an electric scooter and I hit a bus. So what actually happened was I was coming down a hill on a stand-up electric scooter, and disclaimer, I had no helmet on. That's where everyone says whatever they want to say to that. And I remember coming down this hill, and there was a bus and then a gap and then the pavement. And I watched someone cycle, so, you know, the wider on a bicycle rather than on standing on a scooter. And I watched someone cycle through the gap and I thought, oh, well, they're much wider than me. And they got through the gap fine. I'll be fine as I get through to the gap. I don't really know what happened next. I got to the gap and I genuinely don't really know what happened next. I couldn't control the scooter. I couldn't slow down the scooter. Obviously, it sped up with the momentum of coming down a hill. And all of a sudden, I veered into the curb, which bounced me off. And then I remember whacking the bus on my left-hand side. I remember hearing the thud. I still hear it on my elbow. And then kind of freaking out. And the next thing I did was I put my left leg down. Obviously, I want something moving, so I put my left leg down. And from putting something down, I guess stationary while on something moving, I then went flying. I landed on my left knee and then tumbled in the middle of the road with the scooter for I don't know how long. I can't tell you how long. I only think a few seconds, but I genuinely don't remember. And the one thing I do remember, though, is actually protecting my head, which is so interesting. It's the one thing I remember doing while tumbling. And the next thing, two strangers picked me off the side of the road. And I remember my leg was just out in the road, and I knew something was terribly wrong with it, terribly wrong. And I just remember screaming, and I was obviously in shock. And I was put on a chair on the side of the road, and there was loads of people around me. One woman took my phone and was like, "Is there anyone I should contact?" I was all on my own, so I, gave her some people to contact, and then somebody else was like, "Do you want an ambulance?" And I just remember being like, yeah. Yeah. But at the same time as all these people, I think someone maybe gave me a glass of water, and all these people around me talking to me, I remember just kind of looking up, again, couldn't tell you how many people there were, loads, all talking to me. So a stranger has my phone. I'm just like, and the next thing, the paramedics came and they bent my leg, and I remember them saying, "Well, nothing's broken." I was like, okay, great. But obviously I knew it was bad. You just know. And they asked me if I could walk to the ambulance. And I remember I looked at them and I said, I don't know, like, can I walk to the ambulance? Like, come on, guys. Like, you know. And they were like, yeah, sure. So I put both my arms over the paramedic's shoulders. I took one step through my left leg, and my ankle went one direction, my knee went the other direction. And then my leg came back together like cooked spaghetti. And I looked down at the same time as it happened. So I watched my own leg buckle under my body weight. And I remember screaming at that. And lo and behold, it was bad what was going on. And I had done my, moving forward, I'd done my ACL, so my cruciate ligament, fully ruptured. I had done a grade 3 tear to my MCL, so it was literally hanging on by fibers. And then I had a 60% bucket handle tear in my cartilage. And And yeah, it's what I did.
When you hear yourself talk about that
Yeah.
story, how does that make you feel?
Emotional.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't quite believe it's me.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I've got scars on my knees because I've had 2 knee surgeries. I've relearned how to walk. And even when I say things like that out loud, I'm like, me? Me? No, it wasn't me. And sometimes I look down at my scars and sometimes I look at them and I look at my legs and I'm like, I can't believe what I put you through. Like, I can't believe what I put my legs through. And I'll be completely honest with you. When I was younger, used to, with women and men, or everyone has sometimes a part of their body they don't love, do they? It's just something we all go through. And growing up, for whatever my reasons were, I just didn't like my legs. We all have our own things. And as a girl, I just didn't like my legs. And it's interesting because obviously my legs are the ones that, been operated on, have scars all over. And now I love my legs more than anything in the world. So it's interesting, even that has come from it. And something like I've been training in the gym since I was 16. It's just who I am. I love sports. And I used to be that girl that wouldn't train legs. So I was like, I had that whatever I thought it was, that I'll have these big tree trunk legs if I train weights, and it's rubbish. And now leg day is my favorite day of the week. I want to get heavier and heavier and heavier every day. So that's just such an interesting, 360 or, turn of events, full circle for something that came also from my accident. So much has come from my accident, but like even something like that is so small, but has already happened. You're right. Even before I'm 30.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've got tears in my eyes because thinking when you were talking and I was thinking about it and the fear that you must have experienced with all of those people around you, and you talk about it like it was a film. You almost detach yourself from everything. Is that a way of coping, do you think?
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point because I think my brain is still protecting myself from it. I do think I still detach from it, and I still think my brain still is doing it. And you know what, if that's how my brain does it for the rest of my life, then that's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, when you talk about your legs and the fact that you literally generally looked in my eyes and went, I love my legs.
Yeah.
And I think, is it that your legs tell you this is what's created the woman that you are now?
Yeah. And my scars are tiny. Like my scars, my surgeon, he was unbelievable, and he's like my angel because he just is. And I mean, I've had 2 major knee surgeries and my scars are tiny. Like even I look at them and I'm like, why are you so small? Like, and yeah, like even if I have shorts on or like a dress on, and like I look in the mirror and I'm like, I can't even see my scars. Like, and
does that, I'm going to just interrupt you. That for me feels like it's almost a sign to say the scars are small because you've carried them that way. You've created a new version of yourself. You've realized you've almost shrunk those scars.
Yeah, I do get what you mean.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking.
Yeah.
You've been so strong, and and I think there's a real analogy of the fact that we really can powerfully use our minds to shrink things down. That's how you've enabled yourself to get back to where you are. And if detachment is your way of coping and dealing with it, then good for you. That's exactly what you should do. And I do love the fact that you talk about these scars being, I just think you've shrunk those scars, right?
Thank you, yeah.
If you've had major knee surgery, then you have shrunk those scars because you've been strong enough to push through it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's interesting actually when we talk about, just thought about something about the brain and my, me detaching. So the next day after my accident, I was in the car. Obviously I wasn't driving. I was a passenger, and I was in the car, and was, I don't know, maybe 24 hours or so, or just around that time after my accident. This was the next day, and we drove past a bus. And I remember all of a sudden, as we drove past the bus, kind of my heart rate, and I kind of was starting to like deep breaths. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I started to not feel very well. And I thought it was maybe my blood pressure. Maybe I'd had a coffee that morning and the painkillers. And I thought maybe the two weren't good together. And, you know, so I was freaking out. Oh, God, maybe my body's reacting to just coffee and pain meds. And so we pulled over, and I think I had like, I don't know, I had like ice cream and chocolate and sweets and anything to just, I guess, give me some energy and some water. And I started to feel better. And then we got to where we were going, and it all came back again. You know, the heavy breaths and the kind of spacing out a bit and the blacking out a bit. And I was like, this is weird. Like, what is going on? And we got out of the car, and I'm splashing water on my face and feeling better. And then about, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes later, it came back, but worse. And I was sitting with some people, and I turned to them and I went, guys, I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I think I'm dying. And they looked at me and they were like, you're not dying. I was like, that's not a joke. I was like, I'm not actually joking. Like, I think I'm dying. And they were like, you're not. So again, I got calmed down, and these feelings that I was feeling went. But there was obviously something still rumbling in me, bubbling in me, and I kind of pushed it away. And then again, 20 or 30 minutes later, it came back up. And I don't know how long again, but I'd say maybe within the hour, I was having a full-blown panic attack. And I've been told it was a textbook panic attack. So I thought I was having a stroke, because I thought I was having a stroke. I believed I was dying. My jaw went numb. My hands went numb. My speech became really slurred. My eyes kept blacking out. I kept coming in and out, sort of thing. And the person I was with told me to grab their arms. I couldn't feel it, but they told me to grab their arms and keep like holding them, just so they knew that they could feel it, which I can't remember feeling it. And I remember all I kept repeating was the bus.
Okay.
So I kept going, the bus, the bus, the bus. And I thought I was dying on the spot. And someone came over. Again, do you need an ambulance? I just remember going, yes. And I remember thinking to myself, if I'm dying, I want to go to hospital. Like, they're going to know what to do. And all of a sudden, it's the following day after my accident, I'm in the back of an ambulance all over again.
Oh, wow.
All over again. I'm in the back of an ambulance the second day in a row. And I got wheeled back into the same hospital, I'm wheeled in. And the doctor that I'd seen the day before was on reception. And he looked at me, and I obviously was lying on my stretcher again for the second day in a row. And I just remember saying to him, the bus, the bus. And he just looked at, I don't know, he somehow knew, and he just went, she's having a panic attack. And I don't know if hearing those words calmed me down, because within the hour and a half, I was calm.
Yeah.
And I now know what that is.
Yeah.
And I now know panic attacks.
Yeah. And you know how to deal with them now.
Yes. Yeah. So I spoke to a therapist, because I had one the following day after again. And I just thought, I can't live like this, because what happens if they happen at any time in my life? And I have had onset one since at really random times. And they are terrifying. But the one thing she told me, which I'll obviously say to anyone, is the worst thing about panic attack is developing the fear of a panic attack. Okay. Because as soon as you feel one, or you know the symptoms, because you know what it is and you're so scared of them, your brain won't even let it, won't even slow down. It will go straight into it, because you'll go straight into fear. You'll go straight into the panic attack. Yeah. So I've now been given the tools and coping mechanisms for if they happen again. And believe me, I've had to do them, which is hard to admit and say, but you know, I now know what they're like, and believe me, they are terrifying. Yeah. I've to be fair, I've experienced them before, and you have no control. No. You have no control when they're coming. And a lot of people actually don't believe in panic attacks. They're like, you know, they're just faking it. But it literally, and I remember I was at someone's house, someone had passed away, and I was on my own, and I was just holding this prayer book, and my hands just started shaking, and I was absolutely fine. There was nothing, I don't know what triggered it. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was literally convulsing on the floor with my teeth chattering, and I literally was going, I don't know what's going on. And I literally was like lying on the floor, just shaking. And it's like, I don't understand where it came from. It was like someone just had hit a nervous system button in me.
Yeah.
And it just is this like trigger button. And they are frightening. They are frightening. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for obviously sharing your story as well. Remind me, how old were you when this happened?
25.
So you were 25 and you're 29 now. So this happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, I know. 4.5 years ago.
And you're sitting here now, literally talking about it and smiling, by the way, if anyone's not watching this on YouTube, with this beautiful, glowing smile. How?
I wouldn't change my accident for the world. I wouldn't go back. And so many people say to me, if you could go back and you could tell yourself not to get on that scooter, like, would you? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't even warn myself, because I know myself. I wouldn't even warn myself. I would sit back and watch myself have the accident. I would let myself do it, because my accident changed my life. And so, yeah, I mean, a month after the accident, I had my first knee surgery, which was to repair my meniscus. And then 6 months later, I had my ACL reconstruction. They didn't want to do it all at the same time, because the left leg was just so broken. It was so battered. There was internal bleeding, internal swelling, like bone bleeding, bone bruising. Like, someone explained it was like taking a sledgehammer to my knee. And I'd done a really good job on it. I don't know how. I done a really good job on it. And I mean, I hit rock bottom, hundreds and millions of feet below. I disappeared off the face of the earth. I told you I deleted social media or Instagram at the time. I quit my full-time job at the time. I disappeared off the face of the earth. I was 25 years old and I just disappeared. What I say is that I actually took a torch, like a flame, and I burnt my whole life to the ground without even realizing I was doing it. I think subconsciously I knew, but obviously I didn't realize. And I think it needed to. I think I just went and burnt my whole life to the ground, and I wanted to start again, clearly, without realizing. And then, I think one of the hardest things as well was the 2 separate surgeries, because I obviously started, I didn't walk for 3 months. So I had to relearn how to walk. And then I started getting stronger in the gym because I was training. And then a reality hit me that I was about to go under the knife again. And I was having my legs operated on in a few months' time. And I actually turned to my physio. And again, he's been amazing through all of it as well. My physios and my surgeon have just, they're my angels. And I remember turning to my physio before my second surgery, and I was like, I don't see the point of training anymore. I got to that in my recovery. I was like, I don't see the point of conditioning for the next surgery. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I said, I feel like I'm an animal that's being fed to then go to slaughter. I was like, I'm literally training to get my legs like cut with knives again. Wow. I'm like, what's the point? And he went, that's a really good point. he liked my analogy. He was like, no, it's that is it. But he explained to me that he was like, if you go into your second surgery stronger, your recovery is going to get, it's going to be easier. And I just remember kind of hearing that at the time and being like, it didn't do it for me, and that's how the mind works. Sometimes you're still like, no. And then it was a month before my second surgery, which I guess it kickstarted again. And I went heavy into the gym again, and I trained really hard for my second surgery. But the issue as well was that to reconstruct the ACL, they wanted to take my hamstring tendon from my right knee, which was completely uninjured. It wasn't, it wasn't touched. And I remember I begged them not to. I was like, why are you going to touch a leg that's perfectly capable? Like, it's not even injured. And he explained to me that the left leg was in such a bad place, they can't take anything out of it to then reconstruct the ACL to put it back in, because then the leg is already so weak. Why are they going to take out things to... And I kind of was like, yeah, I guess I get it. And obviously gave me other options of things that weren't my own body, which I wasn't having any of.
Okay.
So I had to accept it. And even though I knew I was going in to have both my legs operated on, waking up with both my legs operated on was one of the hardest things to see. And now obviously I have a reconstructed ACL on my left leg. Obviously my meniscus has been repaired. My MCL healed all on its own, but I'm missing a hamstring tendon in my right leg now. So, but it's like they're equal now. They're equal.
Was you talk with just such energy and almost joy. It's almost contradictory of this whole journey and story that you're telling me. Was then what point, or was there a point where you thought you weren't going to walk?
It's interesting because there was a point where I think it was in my physio, maybe a week or two before, he gave me the kind of the clear okay to walk. And I remember sitting with him, and I remember him maybe saying to me, I think next week or the week after we can try and start walking again. And I remember even still now I can feel it. It was this like warm glow all of a sudden. It was tiny. Don't get me wrong, it was tiny. There was so much darkness at that time. And it was this tiny little flicker of flame that just suddenly was like enlightened me. And I was like, oh my God, I might be able to start walking next week. Like, oh my God. And it's those tiny little moments that keep us going and we actually need in life. We don't even realize. And even when I started walking again, I was terrified. I remember doing it with him for the first time. And even that now, like sometimes when I'm on the treadmill and I'm running, I look down and I'm like, I still get confused. And I'm like, yeah, I'm running. Like, wow. Like even still. And you know what? I hope that stays with me forever.
Yeah.
I hope I still get those moments which suddenly hit me. And I'm like, I look down and I'm like, yeah, I did just squat that. Or like, yeah, I am running. Or yeah, I can jump and I can do this. And I'm just walking.
Yeah.
I'm just walking.
Yeah.
And they happen and I love them.
And do you realize though, that's your brain, that's you. You've created that. Your surgeons could only do so much. You had to do the hard part.
Yeah.
You had to do the hard part. Tell me what you're doing now, because you left your job. You're in a dark place. You've obviously been through lots of surgery. Mm-hmm. And again, we're only talking a few years ago, which still completely blows my mind. Then what happens?
So while I'm doing all of this, everything, like I said, I quit my job and I started writing. So I just started writing. And then what I started to do is I started to speak to a few other people that'd been through their own journeys. And I started writing up their stories on a blog. So I suddenly created this blog called I Got Back Up. And it was just online. And I would write up people's stories. And what I was noticing that they were friends of mine and they were saying to me, like, thank you for giving me a voice, like somewhere to share my story. And they were so appreciative of that. And then people that were reading the stories were kind of going, wow, if this person go through X, Y, Z, it makes me want to do X, Y, Z. Anyway, again, all through my surgeries, all through everything else I'm going through. So, all of this is at the same time. And then there was one I was, and I used to transcribe them. I used to record them, obviously, so I could transcribe them. And I was listening back one day to one of the recordings and I just thought, these need to be heard. The emotions that I can hear in these stories need to be heard. And a couple of months later, there I was being like, am I about to start a podcast? I would have been 26, I think. And I was like, oh my God, am I that person? And I guess I am, because I then started my podcast. I Got Back Up. And I still do it. And what happened was a year after that, I then, the idea was put to me and I kind of, I was thinking I love interviewing and hosting and presenting and, I'm quite enjoying this. And I love sports. So I stood outside the Emirates Stadium. For anyone that doesn't know, it's Arsenal Stadium. I'm a huge Arsenal fan. Sorry, guys. And I stood outside the Emirates Stadium with my Bluetooth mics. And my dad and my brother were my cameramen. And I just pulled fans in for interviews. And it was mortifying. Like, I remember looking back and it was mortifying. And even now I'm like, how did I do that? Like, but you know what? I think it's a really nice thing when you can look back on yourself and you can even still shock yourself and you can be like, how did I do that? I was mortified. And I did it. And, I posted a few of those on social media. I did it for the first 4 home games of the season. So this is 2023 now, so not long ago. For the first 4 home games of the season. And then I reached out to Arsenal Fan TV 4 games in. I got a job with them 3 days later. And I'm a presenter and broadcaster as well now. So
I mean, that's just mind-blowing.
yeah.
Honestly, you are just a big ball of energy, tenacity. Somebody that, although I'm older, that honestly, I'm going to say that I'm really looking up to you. Really looking up to you and everything that you are doing, that you have done, that you have been through. What message would you like to give to, first of all, somebody who is your age, and then somebody who's my age?
Somebody that's my age, I would say, you know what? Can I actually merge them? Things might come from it,
Okay,
but
go on.
only because of where I'm going to go. Be yourself, because there's no one else in this world except you. You are unique in exactly the person you are. So why would you want to be anyone else? Why would you want to do things that don't align with you and, the things that you don't really love? And once you start to do the things you love, to be the person you want to be, to laugh the way you want to laugh, to love the way you want to love, like to dance the way you want to dance, you'll start to notice maybe more people might start judging, might start saying no, might start saying, well, what is she doing? But I've also learned that along the journey, if people in this world don't fit with you, they're not part of your tribe. They're not meant to be part of you. You will find people in life who are meant for you, that give you joy, that give you energy, that love you for exactly the person you are. And, for instance, and something I talk about, I do mention is I love cosplay. So I love to dress up as superheroes, and I go to Comic-Con and
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that.
No. There you go.
You should have come in here all dressed up.
I love it. I have wigs. I have loads at home. Yeah. I love it.
Maybe I'll come and join you one day and experience it.
100%. But the reason I bring that up is because even with that, for instance, like when I first started to go, I was scared of putting on a superhero outfit or putting on a wig or and that's something I've always loved. Like I love things like that, dressing up. But now, my God, I fully embrace it. Like I'll get on at my local train station in my full Spider-Man outfit with my blue wig on and just sit there like, yeah, who's looking?
I love that. And I think, I think we should do more of that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going back to that fear. If we feel the fear, it's that, the book, feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah. If there's something that we're fearful about, why not just try and do it? What first little step forward could someone take just to get, you don't have to do the whole dress up.
No.
Maybe just wear the boots and go out.
Yeah.
See how the boots feel. Then maybe go out in the cape, see how the cape feels. And see how you feel with other people looking at you, because that's the fear, isn't it? People, it's the judgment from somebody else. That's what it is. And you've obviously learned, especially standing outside the stadium, was like, excuse my language, but fuck it. I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm just gonna speak to people. And I love that. And I think we should do more of that. I think sit in our hole and we don't get ourselves and don't put ourselves out there enough.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that will sit in their lives not truly embracing or being that person that they want to be. And it shouldn't take what you went through to have to become that person.
Never. But I think for whatever the reasons mine are, I had to go through what I went through. Because I can't tell you what the warning signs were before because I don't know them.
Yeah.
But I think I was given them. I just didn't take them. I just wasn't taking them. And to, I guess, with what we were talking about at the beginning, who I was before my accident and who I am now, I used to think that something huge was missing from my life. I used to feel it. I used to feel inside my soul something huge was missing from my life. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me what it was. Was it a specific relationship? Was it a job? Was it a country I was meant to live in? And I tried so many different things and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. I just knew something was missing. And then about a year and a half after my accident, I just remember having a conversation with someone and it came out. And I realized the thing that was missing from my life was me. I was missing from my own life. The person I was truly meant to be was just missing from my own life. And I think that's why when I look back on everything, I was never who I was truly meant to be. And my accident, you know, loads has come from my accident, loads. But one of the biggest things was learning and realizing the person I am truly meant to be on this planet. And it's crazy that for so long I was missing from my own life. And and that's again something I'm really proud of, that to be 29 and to be able to see this and to know this. And that's why, I'm so excited to turn 30 and I'm feel, ready to take on life and ready to take on the world after a lot of darkness,
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't change any of it for the world, because I believe in life, we all have to go through darkness, yin and yang, dark and light, they come together. You will never know true light, in my opinion, unless you haven't seen real darkness, because you're never going to really, really be grateful for it or understand it. At the end of the day, the stars in the sky, they do not shine without the darkness behind them.
Yeah.
They don't. And that's, in my opinion, to have your own light, you do have to go through darkness. And I hate to say that, because darkness is horrible and I don't want anyone to go through it. But it is part of life, and we are all going to go through it at some time, at some point, at some time in our lives. We just are.
Yeah.
And it's learning that it's not going to destroy you. It's just not. If you let it, it will.
I think that for me is the key message, that if you are in darkness, you will get out of it. You just got to find that strength. Like you shrunk your scars. Anyone can shrink whatever's going on, if it's something that's in their way right now. If someone's listening to this right at this moment, I want them to listen to your message and take heed. At 29 years old, if you can think like this now, you are just going to be that superhero that's going to take on the world.
Thank you.
I just wish you all the success.
Thank
and
you so
health.
much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sister.